So a report came out earlier today that Donte DiVincenzo is being viewed as a possible trade candidate for several contending teams, per Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. I also saw another report that the Wolves were even shopping him. It makes sense. They're not having the best start to the season. Devo struggled. Clearly, his new role with that team has not been what it was with the Knicks, which was starting, shooting 40+% from three, giving us 15 a night, playing good defense, even playmaking. Him, Brunson, and Hart, they were building something special. As soon as we got Mikal Bridges, I figured, oh my goodness, we're about to win a championship with the Villanova Knicks. But then, of course, the big trade happened. Karl-Anthony Towns for Donte DiVincenzo and Julius Randle, which I love personally because the Knicks got the best player in that. Devo, he's a good guy, good player, but certainly, I mean, he's not Karl-Anthony Towns. And then Randle probably wasn't staying with us for the future anyway, coming off of an injury, not the best three-point shooter. Playoff performance hasn't been the best. I love the trade, but losing Devo definitely hurt just because he balled out in the playoffs. I would say from December onward of 2023-24, I mean, he was lights out. He was crushing it. I'll never forget that performance against the Pacers where he literally just carried us. We did lose, but still. He reminds me, not going to say J.R. Smith or John Starks, but just that impact that he had. He just stayed ready, and he was one of my favorite Knicks of all time in just a year of being here. So if we have the opportunity to go and get him back, I would definitely do it, especially because we already know that if he were to come back, we know what he does. We know what he's capable of. If he goes to a different team, it's the same thing as the Timberwolves. He's going to have to figure out his role and his identity before us. We already know that we're going to bring him off the bench, which, yes, it is the bench, but he also shut down the reports that he was frustrated with being moved to the bench after getting Mikal. So clearly he wouldn't mind coming off of the bench. The question for the Knicks becomes, what would you give up? And also, would Devo want to come back? Because we did trade him and basically give up on him, so that would be another thing. But I guess he can't really say no because it's not in his clause. But looking at our roster, I believe we have like one protected first-round pick we could trade. We don't have much. Miles McBride, would we swap McBride for DiVincenzo? I don't know if that makes any sense. And then, like, we don't really have much to give up is the problem because everyone in our starting five is untouchable. And then all of a sudden you're looking at like Huck Porty and Kolek. I mean, the Timberwolves aren't going to do that because they're going to want to get a piece that can still help them win. They're trying to win a championship. So we'd have to trade some sort of swap. And the only player that realistically comes to my mind would be Miles McBride. And me personally, we can't trade McBride though, because I mean, I guess we do have Campaign who could run the full time. We have Kolek and Payne. I guess we could really, because we have Payne and Kolek that can handle the playmaking, and we also know Payne can play the two as well. So yeah, I personally would not mind that at all. I mean, McBride, I would say has more upside than DiVincenzo, but in terms of just having a safe floor, a guy that can come in here and just explode, I would say that's DiVincenzo. But also, him and McBride are very similar. McBride's a better defender, and I want to say he's a little bit younger. 37.9% is above league average. That's pretty good territory. That's like OG type of range. 11 points, 2.5 assists, 2.3 rebounds, 80% from the free throw line, 44%, 26.4 minutes. McBride last season ended up shooting, it was like 41% from three. I just personally don't think the Knicks would do that because you have to think about it. Are you becoming a better team? Maybe, but you're also making yourself worse. If you're going to make a trade, you want to just flat out become better. Trade Karl-Anthony Towns for DiVincenzo and Randle. Devo is struggling, and now he's on the block. And in terms of Randle, he's playing well, but he's not playing as well as Cat. I mean, Cat's been legitimately a top three big in the NBA behind Jokic and Anthony Davis. So the Knicks definitely would do that trade 10 times out of 10 again. I think what this comes down to is just offering more than other teams. The Warriors, I expect to be in on DiVincenzo. In terms of other teams, it remains to be seen. A lot of guys could use Donte DiVincenzo just because he can shoot, and of course, he has that championship level experience. He's made every team that he's gone to better, including us. Made the Warriors better. Certainly made the Bucks better. Was injured, of course, during that championship run, but still, if we can make this work, I would definitely do it. This is one of those videos where it's kind of just hoping that a player that's available in trade talks you can go out and get, but you don't really think it's realistic because the Knicks were not willing to trade McBride this entire offseason. They weren't willing to even trade him for Mikal Bridges, so why would they be willing to trade him for Donte DiVincenzo? Yes, I do like DiVincenzo more than I like McBride, but that's not even a knock on McBride. I mean, we drafted him. He was a second-round pick a couple of seasons ago. He's played well. He's gotten better and better. He's actually on the screen right now. When you guys are watching, he won't be just because I'm going to edit. But still, I don't think you can do it. I really don't. I mean, Devo is just it definitely embodies what it is to be a Knick. And just his also the trash talking that he had with TJ McConnell, just hitting big shot after big shot. Of course, has the Knicks franchise record for threes in a season. He also has it for threes in a game. He's just a lethal shooter. But if you're gonna go get Donte DiVincenzo, you don't trade Miles McBride. You trade draft picks. Maybe you trade some sort of veteran for a veteran, but we don't have that right now. And I don't think the asking price would be cheap as well. It certainly wouldn't be because it would be like us trading. I'm not going to say Josh Hart because Josh Hart this season is averaging. He's got to be averaging a double double. He's close to it, 14 and 9, 6 assists, extremely efficient. Josh Hart's playing like an all star right now, but we don't have a player to give up. Everyone's too valuable or not valuable enough, and I would say Miles McBride's just as valuable as Donte DiVincenzo, because if we were to go get like Walker Kessler, for example, we'd have to give up McBride. And I don't even think we would do that. So why would we do it for Devo? So yeah, I guess unfortunately I'll kind of leave it at that. Is the Knicks, I don't really see a realistic world where they get DiVincenzo, but I also didn't see them going out and getting Cat. I didn't see them getting Mikal Bridges. So it's possible, but there's just teams that have more to offer. The only way it would work is if Devo literally like went to management for the Wolves and said that he only wanted to come back to the Knicks, and then the Timberwolves just traded him to the Knicks for as much as they could get. But that's not going to happen. Devo would definitely be welcome to go to any team as long as he can compete for a championship and he can win. And there's plenty of teams, like I said, that could use him right now. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the video. Just thought I'd make this more for fun. Friday night, the Knicks don't play tonight. So I do have another video dropping though about Jalen Brunson, so stay tuned for that. By the time you're watching this, the video is already going to be out, unless you clicked on this like within the first 5-10 minutes it dropped. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts once again. Back on October 2nd, remember we made the trade. We swapped Randall and DiVincenzo for Cat. And now we're talking about not even 2 months later, Devo potentially being on the move. He's averaged 9.5 points and 34.8% shooting, 32.4% from three through 15 games. Personally, I think the Timberwolves should let him ease more in because it's not like he was on fire to start his Knick career for us. He was coming off the bench and he was struggling not only with shooting, but he was struggling with defense and playmaking, and then he started to pick it up. But I think DiVincenzo is definitely at his best in the starting lineup. For the Knicks, he'd have to come off of the bench, but also he'd be playing with his best friends. I mean, he was literally at Brunson's wedding, guys, as his groomsman. So if he were to come to the Knicks, even though he would come off the bench, I still think that he would make it work. But for other teams, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever see Donte DiVincenzo play like he did last season for the Knicks, unless he comes back to the Knicks. So hopefully we can get it done, man. Because if we get it done, I mean, I think this puts us over the top. If we get him without giving up McBride, this literally would put us over the top. I think he could be the difference between us beating Boston or not, or even getting to the finals. Even if it's not Boston, if it's another team that kind of sneaks in there, who really knows? Like the Cavs, for example. But yeah, it's your boy Nick Daly. I'm about to sign out. Peace.